Nobody wakes up and decides to live a repetitive life. It just kind of happens. One habit at a time. The same morning walk, the same breakfast, the same rhythm. You don't really notice it at first. It feels like structure. Like you're getting your life together. But then before you know it, days start to blur into one. And everything feels fine. Not amazing, not horrible. Just kind of this flat line. Your routines become rituals, your curiosity silent, and your world starts to shrink. Confined to the same spaces you find yourself in every day. Same rooms, same streets, and the same mind with the same thoughts. And you'll never quite realize any of it, just how small your world has become. That is, until you get out of it.
This is what we've got. Complete whiteout, 5 wins.
You got 4 blisters in your toe?
It's funny how being away from life as you know it can make you see things a lot more clearly. To change not only what you're looking at, but where you're looking from. I think that's what keeps me coming back. Perspective.
We just came to the conclusion that we don't really care how much money we'd be making, as long as we would make enough money to go on trips like this. If life quality was measured in the quality of your experiences, I mean, this is life worth lived. Wow! Boom, 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 boom!
It's almost like a wake-up call from the way in which I tend to sleepwalk through my life. It reminds me of the endless ways in which you can spend your days, and of the repetitive ways in which I tend to spend mine. How much there is to see and learn and do and be inspired by, and how little I sometimes allow myself to try. Most of all though, they continue to remind me that there is, in fact, a whole world outside of the one I create for myself. But it never lasts. That's the issue with big adventures. You always come back home, you always go back to where you started, and the cycle always continues. But it doesn't have to. I used to think it was pretty black and white, that I had to choose between a quote-unquote normal life and an adventurous one. And I'd envy people who lived in places that seemed full of novel experiences and opportunities. I'd assume that it just wasn't accessible to me because of how or where I lived, or the money, time, and freedom it seemed to require. A bit of a grass is greener on the other side type of situation. Except the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. I mean, probably every place you've ever been to has been someone else's boring backyard. To you, it might be the most exciting and beautiful thing in the world, while to them, it's all the same. And I think we often overlook the opportunities that are right on our doorstep. The little ways in which you can invite a little more spontaneity or adventure into your daily life.
Look at this, is our movie theater. It's pretty cozy.
Sometimes all it takes is a little shift in perspective to turn your familiar into something new. I've come to a little nature reserve close to where we live. Maybe 30 minutes or so by bike, and I'm gonna have a little picnic. There's a little picnic table waiting for me right there. I always associate eating outside with camping and like longer trips, but it never really occurs to me to just do it on a random day, like close to home, even though it's so nice. Because usually when I would be eating, I like read a book or I'll watch a TV show or something like that. But you can also just do this, which I would argue is probably much better. I think we have this tendency to want to escape our day-to-day lives whenever it starts to feel a little repetitive, looking outward at everything that's lacking rather than inward at everything that's worth adding. Because all an escape really boils down to is a change of scenery and, in turn, a change in perspective. Which, contrary to popular belief, is not something you have to jump on a plane for or disappear into the wilderness for. You can find it all around. I think kind of what I've realized more and more, and what I've been thinking about a lot, is big adventures are great. Like, they're super inspiring and whatnot, but they kind of make you realize how small your world is. Like, if you go on this really big adventure and you come back and you're just like, oh man, like, not that your life is so bad, but it's just so much smaller and less rich than compared to what it was when you were on your big adventure. Whereas if you have all of these little adventures close to home, it's like it just expands your world rather than creating this contrast between your world and the outside adventurous world. Instead, you just start to recognize all of these little opportunities that are right on your doorstep. And I kind of like that idea, that you're not, in a way, making yourself feel more small and more stuck, but you're making your world more rich, because once you do these things close to home, you start to realize just how much more rich your world can be. Does that make sense? Like, this place is like 30 minutes from where I live by bike. It's making me feel pretty rich. Anyway, food.